Now we're going to finish the pin cushion. So here you can see my example. I have my running stitch, I have the overstitch at the end, and then I did another running stitch over here. Again, you want to make sure your stitches are small, so that way it's not going to have any holes, especially when we flip it right side out. When we put the stuffing, you'll notice if they're too large, the stuffing starts to come out. So I'm going to get my little end, the part that we didn't close, and I'm going to flip this guy right side out. Just kind of like when you get a sock out of the dryer and it's not the right way out. Kind of push it. Depending on how closely you sewed to the edges, you might have a big pillow or you might have a small pillow. I have a kind of little tiny pin cushion, and that's okay. Um, because I sewed so close together, you can barely even see my stitches. The overstitch you can always see. That's why we don't use it on the regular sewing parts, just on attaching the limbs. But here's my little bag. Yay! Now we're going to stuff it. I'm going to have stuffing out in the classroom, most likely at my front desk for you guys to pull from. The stuffing we have is pretty much stuffing you find inside toys and teddy bears. No, I didn't attack someone's little teddy bear. It was given to me by another classmate a few years ago who probably attacked their younger sister or brother's toys. I have a lot of students that will go to the 99-cent store or the Dollar Tree and buy little dolls to steal the stuffing for their project. It's up to you. Please don't attack your siblings' stuffed animals. It's never going to amount to any good. So I'm stuffing my little pillow. This corner is getting caught in there. There we go. And it's really however much you want to stuff it, how chunky, how thick you want your pillow to be. What you want to make sure to do is stuff it as much as you want, but you want to leave some room at the top. You don't want to fill it all the way to the top because we're going to have to close this. So I think I'm good. Maybe I'll add just a tiny bit more to my little pillow. Nice and chunky. My little pin cushion. Now I'm going to stuff it down. I want to make sure I have that room at the top. So what we're going to do now is to close off the pin cushion so that way it's nice and neat and it has a really cool little look to it. Is your fabric will always have these fraying ends, these ends that are kind of coming apart, and what you do is you'll fold those pieces in to hide them. And then you'll sew it shut. So I'm going to keep going around. I might have stuffed a little too much in here because it's not letting me push it all in. My little tiny pin cushion. So that way when it's sewn closed, you don't see those really frayed edges. So I pushed it all in, kind of making it a little bit neat. Get back in there. And now I'm going to close it. I have my needle, just like we always talked about. The ugly fly knot is never by the needle. It's always at the end of your thread. But I want to hide it. When we first started, when we did our sewing, the ugly fly knots are always in the way, always visible. They're ugly. That's why we call them that. Because I'm finishing this, I don't want this to show. So what you do is instead of starting on the outside, you're going to start on the inside. So I'll go kind of down here, and we're going to do the overstitch. Actually, I want to go more in the corner. Go inside my pillow, and I'll come out. And then I'll stuff him in there so no one will see it. And then we're going to do the overstitch like we learned. I'm going to go around through the other side. Push through. Pull, pull, pull. Sometimes this will happen where the thread isn't like always nice and snug. So I'll just kind of like go towards the end and pull it. And then again, I'm going to go from the other side back to the front. Always watch out for your fingers. And I'll pull, 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 fix that so it's nice and snug. And just go slowly. Remember, you want the stuffing to stay inside there. You don't want to have these really far spaced stitches because then the stuffing will come out. You want the stitches to be small. You want them to be close. What tends to happen, students will get impatient and they'll do really, really large stitches. And so it's kind of a pick your poison. Do you want to do large stitches and finish sewing faster, but then have to do it all over again because your sock monster is falling apart? Or spend the time doing smaller stitches, and when you're done, you're done. You don't have to go back. Craftsmanship is always important in our projects, so I always want to be mindful of that. One thing too is if you make a mistake, let's say I was going through and I accidentally went farther back. If I pull the needle all the way through, I have to commit. So for instance, let's say I pulled it out and I thought, oh no, I was supposed to go over on that side, not way over here. You can't go back through. You'll never be able to go backwards. The needle just doesn't work that way, and the thread gets really crazy. So just, own the mistake, start over again. That's what we're making the pin cushion for, to kind of learn and figure out how this system works. And I'm going to put this on pause and finish up the top of this pillow with my overstitch. Now I finished my overstitch. Kind of ugly, but that's okay. All the other sides look really nice and neat because of the running stitch. But I need to stop. I need to stop the thread. Just like before, and this is how you'll always, always end. Whatever is the last stitch I did from where my string is coming out, I'm just going to take the needle and go right underneath it. That makes this little loop. The needle will go through the loop, and then I'll pull, and I'll do that one more time to finish off the knot. I'm going to go under that stitch that I did. This makes this loop, and then my needle's going to go through the loop, and I'll pull, and then you cut it off. And now since I'm done, I have my pin cushion, and it will save my needle, and I'll never lose it. At least I won't lose it for a while. And that's it. Perfect.